Welcome everyone to Jen's Joyful Kitchen, and tonight I'm sharing what's for dinner. So as you're joining, I want you to say hello, and if you're watching on replay, I want you to type replay because I want to say hello to you as well. So if you're new here, I want you to know that I am a mom, I'm a dietitian, and I love cooking fast and healthy meals that use my Pampered Chef tools to make it really quick and easy to have it come together. So welcome, thanks for watching guys. I'm glad you're here. Say hello and share where you're from. So we're going to actually cook something tonight called chicken cacciatore, and we're going to be making it in the quick cooker. So I'm going to give you some tips on converting recipes that you may find out in the internet world that are meant for pressure cooking and how you can make sure that they're going to work for you in your quick cooker. So great. Oh, excellent, Heather. I'm glad that you're cooking along with us, or with me, and Isaac too. So great. I'm happy that you guys are here. So we are going to get started. Now, for those of you that are watching, I want you to let us know in the comments, do you have a quick cooker or do you not have a quick cooker? Maybe you have something else, or maybe you don't have a pressure cooker at all. So let us know in the comments, and also share your number one question about pressure cooking or your number one challenge about pressure cooking. So I want to see if I can answer all of your questions tonight. So we are going to get started. This is a fantastic recipe that I have made for cooking parties before, and it's very good and everybody loves it. So we're gonna get started. So the first thing you wanna do is actually set your quick cooker to the sear setting. So there's lots of different settings on the quick cooker, and searing is one of my favorites because it allows you to not have to heat up any other dish on the stovetop to actually saute something. So searing just means sauteing. So I'm actually going to just put in just a touch of oil, and I've been kind of heating mine up just for a couple minutes. You don't have to do it long. And we are going to cut up some peppers, and it's going to be super easy because I'm going to use one of my favorite tools, the quick slice. And I'm also going to be using another tool to cut things up called the simple slicer, and this is going to allow me to get some onions sliced really thinly and quickly, and also to get my mushrooms sliced thinly and quickly as well. I like to put this actually right over the top of my quick cooker, and then I put my mushrooms, which are over here. Like, where are they? And I put my mushrooms actually right in here, and I just put them right into the simple slicer. Put the top on, and I'm going to turn this so you guys can see it here. It's got a couple of settings. So what I love about this is that it really, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to turn the camera in just a moment here. But I wanted to get some things sizzling because my oil was nice and hot. Okay, so let me turn the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Welcome, Cassie. Glad you're here. Okay, so I've also got these peppers that I just quickly put together or just cut off the sides. And as you're doing this, I just cut off the sides and I'm just chopping them slicing them really quick with the quick slice. So this makes it so that your slices are even. Your kids can even help if you want them to. I think that's an essential skill, right? Learning how to cook. And you could even dice these if you wanted with the quick slice. You just have to turn the little slices one more time and then go back through them. But look how easy that is. You don't even have to worry about how to cut these up fast with a knife. You don't have to have good knife skills. You can literally just cut them up. So here's another tip for you. When you're using your knife, I want you to actually put your thumb right on the blade. This is going to allow for you to have the best control over your knife. Now this is the easiest way to cut a pepper without having to think about the seeds on the inside. So this recipe makes normally 8 servings. I'm actually cutting it in half, so that's why I'm doing 1.5 peppers. So we're gonna get those in there. So how fast is that? Now, if you have the quick slice, raise your hand in the comments because I wanna know what you like to use it for. What are some of your favorite things you like to slice up? looking fantastic. All right, so, okay, so I'm gonna turn this back on sear. I turned it off just for a moment there because it was getting pretty hot. Heat it up really quick. Okay, and then I'm going to do our onion. So again, putting your thumb right on the blade, and then I just use the knife to just grab the skin, so you can see how that works. Hi, Cassie. Let us know. I know that you are eyeing the quick cooker, so this is a great opportunity for you to actually see how it works. So I'm going to, again, here's the simple slicer. You can see it's got 2 notches. They sit right on top of the quick cooker, which is great. Now the quick cooker is a pressure cooker, and what it does is it cooks things up to 70% faster, and it gives them the same flavor as if they were cooking all day long. Look at this. I'm going to show you what these little pieces of onion look like here, and look how fast that was. Was that about 5 seconds? So think about when you're making your hamburgers, you've got these thinly sliced onions right here. And we're just going to saute these. I put that oil in there. So you can use olive oil, you can use canola oil. I'm using actually the Pampered Chef garlic flavored canola oil. It's really good, just adds a little touch of garlic flavor. That is looking fantastic. So you do 1 onion, you do 1.5 bell peppers that you quickly slice up, and then you also do those mushrooms. So I'm going to finish with the mushrooms. Simple slicer really allows you to do a lot of thinly sliced things. Mushrooms, onions, potatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, you name it, whatever you like to thinly slice. We're gonna get those in here too. And again, this is a nice, safe thing too for kids to help you with some supervision. You know, if you've got some older, a couple of them flew off. Okay, so that's the simple slicer. Now, you can probably hear this sizzling. You just want to cook it basically for 2 to 3 minutes on the saute setting. We don't want it to cook too long. And what we're going to do to add to some flavor to that is we're going to add some fresh garlic. Now, for those of you that have never purchased garlic before, let us know in the comments if you have, but these are a couple of things to be aware of. This is a garlic bulb, and the inside are the garlic cloves. So if you ever find a recipe that says, oh, you need 2 garlic cloves, you don't need to buy 2 bulbs. You can buy 1 bulb because there's probably about 10 cloves inside. Now, one of my favorite tools to make your dishes taste really good and add that garlic flavor without getting any garlic on your hands is the garlic press. So with this, you literally put your clove of garlic right in here. So to open this up, I'm going to do 2 cloves. Now, if you were going to open this up, the easiest way to do that is to actually push down on your hand on a cutting board, and it will open right up and fan out just like you're opening up a flower. So I'm putting this in here without taking the skin off. I'm going to put them both in at the same time. Maybe if I can. There we go. And I'm going to just add the 2 of them, squeeze it down. You saw how that comes out. Take the rest of the garlic that's stuck there. I'm going to stir this together. Okay, now if you have a quick cooker, I want you to let us know in the comments and share your biggest question or your biggest struggle or challenge, or maybe you're thinking about pressure cooking and you don't know how to do that. You have a question about that. So here's the skin. See, you can not have to worry about taking off the skin because the skin will remain on the inside. So you can see me taking that out. This also works really well for doing fresh ginger. You don't have to take the skin off the ginger either. So you can just pop that right in there without taking anything off. Okay, hi Lacey. Okay, Angie, where do you store the bigger appliances? Oh, good question. So, okay, I'm gonna shift this just a touch. There we go. Sorry, I had my hand there. Where do I store my bigger appliances? So, my quick cooker stays on my counter. I have a spot for it because I use it several times a week. And my other appliances, like, you know, my blender has a spot. You can see it right behind me. And my other things all have a spot where I can literally just lift them right out. So that's you know, for me, having the appliances that do all the different things is really something that saves me a lot of space. I don't have to have 5 different appliances that can do one thing. Instead, like the quick cooker is also a slow cooker, so I don't need to have a slow cooker, and I can use it for this as well. So I'll actually tell you more about that, all those different functions. All right, so this is so easy, you guys. This is chicken cacciatore in the quick cooker. You've seen me saute up the vegetables on the sear setting. So the next thing is actually adding our pasta and our broth and our chicken. And I just have 2 cups of chicken broth here. And I also have, now, having a scale for your pasta is nice, but not always do you have that at your whim to use. But it's 8 ounces of pasta to 16 ounces of broth. This is the right ratio anytime you want to make any pasta dish in your pressure cooker, in your quick cooker. Or even if you want to make pasta in your microwave and you don't want to have to drain it out, it's the same ratio. 1 ounce of pasta to 2 ounces of liquid. So that's what we're going to use here. I'm going to just dump this pasta right in here. Now, you could cook this pasta separately in the microwave if you would like, and you can cook it for approximately 12 to 15 minutes, depending on your microwave. And you're gonna find that it cooks up, you don't have to drain it out, and one of my favorite tools to do that is actually the rock crock, the larger rock crock. Or if you're just cooking a smaller amount, you could do the microwave pasta cooker or the 3-quart micro cooker plus, because it has a no boil over feature. I'm going to then put in my pot or my broth. The order is important here because you don't want your pasta sitting on the top, right? So you want to get it down in there. So our veggies are in there, our broth and our pasta are next, okay? And then the next thing we want is our pasta sauce. So we want to do about 12 ounces of pasta sauce. Now again, the recipe, if you signed up for the recipe, that one makes 8 servings. So I am just cutting that in half and I'm just pouring this over the top. This is really such an easy recipe. You love your quick cooker to make hard-boiled eggs. Yes, love hard-boiled eggs in the quick cooker for sure. Now the last piece here is just some chicken. So you can use, I recommend using like the chicken tenders because they're a little smaller. If you have chicken breasts, you can totally use those too. You may consider cutting them down a little, and my favorite way to do that is actually with the close and cut, because I can actually cut a piece of chicken or like a whole chicken breast in half like a fillet style, and it cooks it much more evenly and faster as well if you're grilling it or putting it on the stovetop, putting it in the oven, any of those things. Now we're gonna add just a touch of seasoning. So we've got the 3 onion rub. So Pampered Chef has a bunch of seasonings in our pantry line and they are fantastic. So you can find like over 25 of them, and then we're also doing some more garlic, so garlic rub. So approximately a tablespoon of each, and we're just putting that right on top. They're all gluten-free and all MSG-free as well, so all of our seasonings are like that. So this is ready to go. Let me just make sure I've got everything, because inevitably sometimes I leave things out because I forget, just like a regular person, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on, and I'm going to set it for a 5-minute cook time, okay? So that means I'm gonna press the custom button, and then this automatically is gonna come up to 30, but we're gonna press time, and then we're gonna press the minus sign because we wanna get it back down to the 5-minute cook time. And we're gonna press start. So some key things about the quick cooker that I love. So number one, I was intimidated by pressure cooking when I first got this. This has almost been 2 years ago already. But I found that I really love the safety features. So other pressure cookers on the market, you know, that are metal sided, and they get really hot here. And what's wrong with that is that you're very highly likely to burn yourself, or your kids can burn themselves. So it's really important that you have a safe pressure cooker. So that's why one of the reasons I love the quick cooker. This is doubly insulated. It's not going to burn you. I'm touching it right now. It's barely even, like, not even warm really at all. So that's one safety feature. Another safety feature is typically on other pressure cookers, you see this handle coming over the top, and you will take it from counter to counter and lift it. Well, in the market research Pampered Chef did, people found that when they were lifting theirs, the bottom was dropping out and it totally obliterated the pressure cookers. Broke, right? So our handles are down here on both sides. So it's very easy for you to just lift and carry to wherever you need to. And then the final safety feature that I absolutely love is how you release the steam. Now, when you're finished cooking, whatever recipe you are cooking, there's always two options: to either let it naturally release, which just means the steam will just disperse itself over the course of a few minutes, or you can press the button up here. So other pressure cookers, you have to actually turn the steam valve, and that's unsafe because that is hot steam coming out. You'll actually see some people taking something and trying to turn it like that, but really the best thing is to have a button, and it's 4 inches away from where the valve is, so you're not going to burn yourself. Even your kids can help you if you are wanting to have them learn how to use the quick cooker as well. So let's look a little bit closer at our functionality down here. So what you see happening here is actually the kind of this dashed line kind of going around in circles. That's indicating that you are building heat on the inside. It's starting to heat up. Now, once it gets to the right pressure and everything is ready, this little red indicator will come up and this will start counting down from that minutes that you put on there. So I put 5 minutes, you'll see a 5 and it'll drop. It'll start counting backwards. So you have that functionality to know, how much longer. Now, when it's heating up, the time that it takes really is just dependent on what you have in here. If you've got it all the way to the 2/3 mark full, it can take a few minutes to heat up. If you have it maybe half that size or half that fullness, you're gonna find that maybe it takes 5 to 6 minutes, okay? So it just really depends on how much you have in here. But what I love about quick cooking or using the quick cooker to pressure cook is that it's a babysitter-free zone. I can put my stuff in here and I can go and do whatever I need to do. So all the different functionalities that you want to know about. So we talked about searing. It also has a steaming function. So all those fun vegetables or shrimp or even your eggs, you can do that. You can slow cook, like I mentioned. You can proof. So that means you can let your bread rise. You can make your own homemade yogurt if you choose to. Then there's some settings for your proteins. So you have chicken and poultry, you have beef and pork, and you have fish and seafood. So you have those things to help you guide whatever you're cooking. So if you are, I'm gonna grab my little guide here, wanting to cook up, let's say, some chicken breasts. So not only do we have this built in where you have chicken and poultry setting, which automatically gets you to the 15 minutes, but what you're also going to find is on the inside of this cooking guide that you get with your quick cooker, you will find some different times here. So let's say you want to cook up chicken breast bone in, you have about 2 pounds of it, and you can see that the cook time for fresh is 12 to 15 minutes, but if it's frozen, it's 25 to 30 minutes. So super easy to adjust that, so you can still set it to the chicken and poultry setting, and then you just press time, and then plus or minus to adjust that time. And then you're gonna find your soup and stock setting, your stew and chili setting, your dry bean setting, your dessert setting, and then over here, your grains. So you got whole grains, brown rice, and white rice. So there's all kinds of different settings really meant to help you make it as easy as possible for you to get started cooking with your quick cooker. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, I found this recipe online and I'd like to make it in my quick cooker. And you know what? That's awesome. What I will tell you is if you're new to quick cooking with the quick cooker, is I really want you, so you get really comfortable with how it works, to actually open this up first. Because right in the front, there's a little spot where it says 3 easy ways to get started. And that's important because it really gives you, the know-how on how to use the custom feature, how to use the settings. So get to know it through by choosing those and doing those different recipes. But once you want to venture out, after you've made a few things in this book, you found a recipe that you love, and then it's talking about other pressure cooker terminology or settings and things like that, I want you to know that our quick cooker is always set to high pressure, And anytime you see that, oh, set it to high pressure and have it cook for 6 minutes or whatever it might be, you can just literally push the custom button and then adjust the time. If you ever need to move it to low pressure, we do have a pressure button where you can change it. So that's really easy. All of the different settings though are also applicable to other recipes that you would find on the internet as well. So if you're making something that's like mostly a chicken dish or mostly a pork dish or whatever it might be, you can use that setting and have it and be, excited that it'll be ready for you. I can't even think of the words. I'm not even processing because I'm so excited about this recipe. But you don't have to overthink things because the settings are really meant to help you for sure. So you have that. That's one of my biggest questions that I get from current owners of the quick cooker. Now, new people that are just thinking about quick cooking, I want you to put your comments or your questions in the comment box so that I can help you with that as well. So some of the things that I often get asked about, is like, how is it different from slow cooking? Well, pressure cooking is much different from slow cooking because normally if you're going to, let's say, make a pot roast in a slow cooker, you're gonna get it in there in the morning and then it's gonna cook for 8 or 10 hours. And what's different about slow cooking is that it doesn't really have a locked seal where the lid is. So that's why, when you open the door to your kitchen or your house, you'll smell it and you're like, ooh, that smells good. And yes, that's good, right? But at the same time, that means some of the flavor is dispersing as well. The pressure cooker locks it all in. So this lid is locked on. It is ready to really just infuse all that flavor into the foods that you are making. And it does it 70% faster. So that roast that would normally take you 8 to 10 hours can now be done in about an hour in the quick cooker. And that's with searing it on both sides, adding your onion, adding some oregano and thyme, and then some broth, and then even doing the potatoes on the top. You're gonna feel like mother or woman of the year when you make that meal for your family. So that's one of my favorites. So that's one big difference on how it's different from slow cooking. Now, other things that you may not think about is that, you have this machine and sometimes it's a little bit intimidating to get started. And that's one thing that I've heard, and that's what Pampered Chef heard too when they were doing all the research on pressure cookers. That's why ours came out a little bit later than others on the market, because we really wanted to have one that people would use more often, because one of the biggest things was, I'm so intimidated, it seems unsafe to me, I don't have great instructions, and I don't know how to use it. So that's what we are trying to help you solve, is that you get this nice guide with it, you get myself as a consultant to help you get started, questions, and also just resources where you're gonna get like check-ins every so often after you've purchased it as well, because you'll get some new recipes. Oh, have you tried this yet with your quick cooker? So there's some really great support there. So it takes out that intimidation level that you may fear doing pressure cooking. And that is a common thing. Myself, I was intimidated because the pressure cooker that I was exposed to as a child was one that sat on the stovetop and had the hissing disc. And anytime my mother would use it, she would tell us not to go in the kitchen. So we knew that it wasn't really a safe way to cook, right? So that's why it's great to have a safe one for sure. And you need another cookbook. Yes, okay, so that actually is another great point. If you are looking for more quick cooker recipes, we have many of them on our Pampered Chef website. Of course, you get a bunch in here, and you get a bunch of these charts which help you learn how to cook different things. So not only do you have the 3 easy ways to get started, you have the beans and legumes and the grains and rices. I mean, you have dozens of things you can cook right off the get-go, the vegetables and then the meat and poultry settings, and then plus all these fun recipes, right? So you have all these recipes in here, but all the time, our test kitchen is putting together new recipes for the quick cooker. And that's actually where this recipe comes from, because this was one that came out this past fall. And so remember, if you want this recipe in a printable, I want you just to drop that note in the comments, because I will send it over to you. And if you're watching this later on replay, I want you to know that you can always message me as well. So you're welcome to grab that recipe, and also you can get on my email list too. Just go to jenhaugen.com, because I send out my recipes through there a lot and post new ones on my blog too. And you can also jump into my Jen's Joyful Kitchen group, because I also share really great ideas and tips and handouts and printables in there as well. I've got some great things in the files in there too. So that's another great resource for you. Lots of great resources for you, really, with finding new recipes. And the world of the internet really is your playground, because there are tons of fun recipes out there for you to try. And I posted some of my favorites today on my blog, so you can check those out, jenhaugen.com. So you can look at the kind of a recipe roundup of my latest favorites, including things like the beef stew and the wild rice soup and the macaroni and cheese and things like that, that I think that you're probably looking for really good recipes for, right? So this is a great opportunity for you to get them. So drop your questions. What questions do you have about pressure cooking? What's a recipe that you would like to try and you're maybe a little bit hesitant to do that? For those of you that own a quick cooker, I want you to share a recipe that you've already made and what you thought of it, because this is such, like even last night I made spaghetti in my quick cooker, because it's just such a fast and easy way to make it, and I don't have to have 3 pots on the stove, and I don't have to stand there and watch it. So how I did that is I put my ground beef on the bottom, and then I use my mix and chop to kind of chop that up and let it just saute just a couple minutes. It doesn't have to get all the way cooked, just looking for a little browning to happen. And then I added my pasta, and then I added my water and then my sauce. So I did 8 ounces of spaghetti, so that means 16 ounces of water, and then a whole jar of the marinara sauce. So you can just put all of that together, and then I set it for 6 minutes, and when it's finished, I just press the button to release it. And you may think, oh, it looks kind of watery, but it's actually not. You just need to let it sit for a couple minutes as it's dispersing and steaming, and you're stirring it up, and it is going to be perfect. It's the only way I cook spaghetti now. I don't do the boiling of the stove noodle or boiling on the stove noodles. I don't have to worry about boilovers. I don't have to stand there. I don't have to clean 3 pots. I think that's the best part about it. So, all right, so that's more details about the quick cooker. And if you'd like more information, I can certainly send it over to you. So just let me know. You want more info on the quick cooker, and I can send that over to you. What questions do you have about quick cooking, or the quick cooker, pressure cooker? And what questions do you have about pressure cooking? I want you to let me know in the comments. So what's happening right now? You see the little red indicator is up. So that's actually a good sign. And that means, let me just show you here. We've got the timer already started. It's saying it already has showing 5 minutes on that time. And what I love about this is then you know, like, okay, it's reached the pressure, which is a good thing. And you know it's gonna start counting down. Once it gets to the 0, it's going to beep at you. And then what happens is that it immediately, and you can't see it right now, but it will go to a warming mode, and you will see the words warming right there. Now, why I love that is because, number one, if you don't get to it right away, you know it's not actually going to be cold when you when you eat it. It's going to be ready, and it's going to also just kind of keep things nice and hot for you. So, okay, we have a question. I've done a pot roast. It seems that I need to add 15 more minutes every time to the beef and pork setting. Okay, that's a great question. So here's one thing about beef and pork. You need to have a waiting time after it's finished. So I think, if I recall, without looking at my instruction manual, I'm pretty sure that it's 35 minutes as a set time for beef and pork. So it depends on how much you have. You know, like if you have a giant roast, yeah, you may need to add a few extra minutes. But the bigger thing that I always find that I answer questions about is people will wonder, you know, why is it still tough? it needs that time of not releasing the quick release button. So once it reaches the 0 and it's sitting on warm, I want you to set it let it sit for 10 minutes. What that does is it lets the juices go back into the meat and it tenderizes the meat during that process. So that would be the number one thing to try. Now it depends on the size of your roast. So if you have a roast that is, let's just look at one of these. So a whole beef chuck roast, 3 to 4 pounds. The fresh cooking time is 50 to 60 minutes, which is what you'd actually set it for, okay? So you'd want to actually press beef and pork, and then you would want to adjust the time to, let's say, 55 minutes, okay? So that's what you would do. So use the little settings in here as a guide for the types of meat and the amounts of meat. And another question, I want to try and make bread. Oh, you totally can make bread. You must make bread. It's actually super easy to make bread. So there's a really great recipe right in here and I love it. It's fantastic. So this is called the multigrain bread. It literally takes about 5 minutes, not kidding, to mix it up. It's really a no-knead dough, so that means you're mixing it up and then you're putting it in the ceramic pot. Now there's a ceramic pot that you can get as an accessory with the quick cooker, and what I love about that is that it allows you to not only use it for the bread, but you can also double-decker cook. So double-decker cooking allows you to cook meat on the bottom, for example, and rice on the top, or meat on the bottom and potatoes on the top. Yeah, you're welcome, Pammy. So this multigrain bread, you mix it up, you put a little oil in your ceramic pot, kind of spray it in there with your kitchen spritzer, and then what you do is you put your dough in there and you don't even have to cover it because you're gonna put it in here and set it on the proofing setting for 30 minutes. Why is it important to put it in here? Well, when you're proofing your bread, which just means you're letting it rise, if you're just letting it sit on the counter or letting it sit on your stovetop, it gets drafts of air and it's not a controlled temperature either. So when you put it in the quick cooker, set on the proof setting for 30 minutes, and actually that you can change the setting to either 30 or 60. But when you have it setting in here, it really is controlled for temperature and there's no wafts of air coming at it. So that's important because it's really gonna let it rise. So you do that, and then you actually take it out of the ceramic pot, re-spray it with some oil, or brush it with some oil, just a very small amount. Put the dough back in and do that one more time in here. And once it's risen 2 times, you can pop it in the oven and you're gonna have the most delicious bread that I'm betting you're gonna love spreading with butter. Or olive oil, I know that's healthier. I know it, but a little bit of butter on some homemade bread is fantastic. So look at that. Okay, did you guys hear the beep? Right, the beep. So what we want to do is, I love how fast it works. So I'm gonna show you here what's happening. So you can see that it actually went to 0. And what I'm going to do is get out my little salad chopper because we're gonna need that. So you can see that it says warming, so we know it's completely finished cooking. This little red indicator also tells us that, you know what, you cannot open this until that is down. So how do we get all the pressure out? Now, like I said, your big chunks of meat, you want to let rest for 10 minutes. Whatever your recipe says, you follow. If it tells you, you know what, let it sit and you wait for it, but this, you are able to let it quick release or manually release, whichever way you want to call it. So I'm going to press the button. You can see the steam is coming out. And we will know when it's safe to open when this little red indicator drops down. So that it's really important because you never want to open it until that's completely all the way down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use our salad choppers, which are my favorite tool to actually cut up chicken right in the pot, because you don't have to take it out, you don't have to put it on a cutting board, you don't have to do anything with it, you can just chop it all the way up in there. Now, I know that the pasta is in there and we may not want to chop that up as much, but that's why the great thing is the chicken was sitting on the top, so I can just do that. Now, when you're releasing the steam, it is important to not have this sitting underneath a cabinet, because if you have like a wood cabinet right above this, it can damage wood because it is wet steam, hot steam coming out. So that's why move it to an island, or move it to a table that's in the center of your room, or bring it out away from the back of your counter so that it's not up against your cabinets. So you saw that went down, right? So another little trick, because sometimes you forget, you want to make sure that you press this button back up so that it's flush, because that's going to make sure then the next time you cook with it, you're going to reach pressure how you should. And then you should always check this too before you actually start it up. But the steam valve here has this little cloud icon. It should face the same direction as the cloud icon on the button. Then you know it is ready to go. Oh my goodness, this looks fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna bring you guys closer so you guys can see inside here. Let's see here. Let me get here. Okay, can you see that? Okay, what do you think? Doesn't it look good? Fantastic. Okay, so now I have my salad chopper, and here's my chicken. It's got some of that seasoning on it. So I'm just gonna cut through this just like that. I don't have to worry about taking it, like I said, out and putting it into another bowl. This is a true one-pot meal, and I'm just chopping it in some bite-sized chunks. Now, if you're totally opposed to chicken and you want to do beef, you can totally do that with this recipe. It's kind of like then becoming a little bit more like spaghetti if that's what you want. And maybe you want to try something with shrimp, and that would be great too. So you're welcome to try that. So here, look at how quick, how I'm just chopping this up. And it's okay if you get a noodle in there. Really not that big of a deal. Okay, so I've got this all chopped up. It really smells good. It looks good. What I'm gonna do here is serve it in one of my favorite dishes. This is the large serving bowl. So what I'm going to do is just back you guys up just a touch so you guys can see how it will look right in here. Okay, so one thing you want to know is this is hot. So this little metal part is hot, so you want to definitely make sure you're using something to help you with that. I like these little micro grippers. And again, these are Pampered Chef too. So we've got, look at that. Doesn't that look fantastic? So what I'm gonna do is pour it right in here. And we've got all of our, oh yeah, look at that. All coming out. We've got all of our veggies in there. We've got our chicken. We've got our peppers, our onions, our mushrooms. We've got so many good things here. Looks fantastic. So this, I'm just gonna kind of toss this up a little bit. And then, look at this. Okay, you guys check this out. Doesn't this look amazing, right? So this is something you could top with a little cheese. You can serve it with some garlic bread. You can make a salad, because I think salads are always good with our evening meal. Gives you some extra fiber, gives you some extra greens. We all need more of that in our life. But what do you think? Is this something your family would eat? Let us know in the comments. Would you love it? It smells amazing. Can't wait to eat it. So this is Quick Cooker Chicken Cacciatore. I want you to share this video with a friend. I want you to join my Jen's Joyful Kitchen group for more easy recipes. Make sure you're liking my page so that you are able to get future notices of when I go live. But if you want this printable, let me know in the comments. Just say printable. If you want to know more about the Quick Cooker, just say Quick Cooker and I'll send you some more information that way too. So I want to say thank you guys for watching. I can't wait to see you all again.